Good morning, Maura Prilizzanetti here from San Francisco, Cloud Hawaii. Today we have a special guest, also because she is in Firenze. Let me say that, but Firenze probably is the most beautiful place in the planet. So, Susanna Nicoletti, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mauro. It's a pleasure being here with you today.
Thank you. We're going to treasure your insights on a specific topic, which is luxury. And we chose as a main topic, actually, to quote a book that you just published. It's called Luxury Unlocked. Is that
Thank
correct?
you. Yes, it's correct.
Cool. So, um, first things first, let me say what you do. You are the Fashion Business Masters Unit Leader at Istituto Marangoni, Florence, Firenze. So let me ask you if you can share with us what's that, what the Marangoni, Istituto Marangoni is, and what you are actually doing these days.
Thank you very much, Mauro, for this occasion. Istituto Marangoni is one of the most prestigious fashion and luxury schools in the worldwide panorama of education. It's a network of schools. It was founded in Milan, and then it opened different sites all over the world. So there's Marangoni in London, in Paris, there's a Marangoni in Florence, in Mumbai, and in China, Shanghai and Shenzhen.
Cool.
I'm very privileged to have had the chance to become a unit leader of the masters in Florence in fashion business. And right now I'm coordinating two masters, and we are preparing a new one for the next autumn. So it's a busy season, rich of inspiration. The situation is very challenging for the fashion and luxury industry, and we are preparing the education for the next chapter of the industry, supporting all the development that is necessary from the brand's side.
Cool. Well, since you're mentioning the Istituto Marangoni was created in Milan, let me ask you something about a very kind of historical debate between Milano and Firenze when we speak about fashion. Please, can you share quickly that actually fashion, as we define it in clothing, in lifestyle, was actually created in Firenze?
Absolutely. Fashion, and especially the Made in Italy, was launched as a structured environment in Firenze in the 50s of the last century, well before Milan became the heart of the Made in Italy. And it was at the famous Sala Bianca at Palazzo Pitti, where a great visionary, Conte Giorgini, decided to set up the first group of, it was not even brands, it was atelier doing fashion and setting up the fashion shows in Italy for the very first time. After several decades, Milan raised to the sort of a capital of fashion. But in fact, Florence still is the headquarters of some very important fashion and luxury brands like Salvatore Ferragamo, like Gucci was
Oh,
created here as well, and Ermanno Cervino, among many others. And Prada has a very big headquarters not far from Florence in Arezzo. But Firenze is also the site of Pitti, which is one of the most important marketplaces for fashion in the world. And it's also surrounded by very important and strategic districts for the whole fashion world, where Prato is the textile district, Scandicci is the leather goods district, where all the fashion and luxury brands, including the French ones like Balenciaga, Saint Laurent, Chanel, Dior, are based for their production of leather goods. And there is also the leather tanneries in Santa Croce sull'Arno. So Firenze is still a very strategic place for fashion in Italy, but not only in Italy. And that's why Marangoni decided also to open a site in the heart of Florence in Via Tornabuoni, the luxury street, not so many years ago.
Wow, that's an amazing street, by the way, where Palazzo
Yeah,
Tornabuoni and Palazzo Strozzi are some of the
yes.
two greatest palaces in the world. Well, since you were mentioning these origins of the made in Italy, so-called made in Italy, creators, designers, I remember that last September, for example, Dolce Gabbana decided to have the greatest opening of the fashion week, specifically in Firenze. And this was a big sign also to help recovering uh, uh, um, from the COVID-19 crisis scenario for retails. So they brought big energy. And also, as you were mentioning, one of the gods of fashion and luxury, Gucci, um, is still headquartered there. And
Yeah.
this is very important. And at the end of the day, you're saying the great ecosystem of everything, textile, leather goods, is still there. So it makes a lot of sense having the Marangoni at the very heart of fashion. So that said,
Absolutely, it's really the heart of fashion, but it's also, as you said before, with Palazzo Strozzi and of course all the beautiful museums of Florence, the heart of art. And Marangoni here really mixes art and fashion because there are also some art courses that are in contemporary art, multimedia and visual
yeah.
arts. It's very exciting to be able to do this, to facilitate this fusion and the inspiration from art to fashion and back. And that's exciting as well.
Well, and I can say the legacy lives on because Prada, who is, by the way, one of our main client, they have also a big foundation dedicated to art. But also, as you were mentioning, Gucci, for example, there is a link even today with the fact that everything started in the Renaissance art thanks to Giorgini, leveraging the Renaissance beauty and craftsmanship, and that in the 70s, 80s, the lady who brought Gucci to become internationalized in the United States was and is Maria Manetti Schrem, who is a Fiorentina par
Wow.
excellence and lives in San Francisco. And today, she and her husband, Jan Schrem, they are the major patrons of the arts and education for museums. And UC Davis, they have a museum, the Manetti Schrem Museum of Contemporary Art, and also for medical research, scientific research. So she's the 100% patron as I Medici were during Renaissance, and she was the lady who internationalized Gucci accessories in the United States, creating in store inside the department stores, the corner. Before
Mhm.
that wasn't.
Okay.
So she designed that. And let's go to this thing about how fashion keeps on changing. Not by chance, we have at least twice a year a season. Otherwise, we wouldn't change anything. And speaking of change, speaking of disruption these days, what's your takeaway about the state of the art with fashion, the COVID-19 disrupting everything, technology who can support, can make brands really turn into digital also brands. What can you tell us about that?
Well, during the first lockdown, I decided to write down all my thoughts about this because it was such an unexpected situation that really had a very hard impact on the whole industry. But on the other side, the industry was getting into a sort of a fragile mode for several reasons. So I put down in my book some concerns, some threats, and some opportunities, because threats can really become opportunities when we manage them in a different way with a different mindset. And COVID-19 has just accelerated the whole process, the whole rethink process. I was preparing a lesson a few days ago, and I found some interesting researches from consulting firms from 2015 talking about the importance of the customer journey and stressing for luxury how setting up a proper customer journey was important and was strategic. And I said, these are truths. It's absolutely true. Everything was already written on paper, but nobody took it into consideration. Nobody really implemented a real customer journey. I worked as a chief marketing officer for some of the most important brands, fashion and luxury brands in the world. I worked for all the three luxury groups. And I learned a lot, I shared a lot, but everything was it was so difficult to support innovation and an innovative mindset. And that's strange because fashion, luxury and hard luxury is another matter. It has a very traditional and conservative attitude that really is part of the DNA. But fashion is all about change. And I've
Yeah.
always found so much resistance to change in the fashion brands that really impressed me a lot. And that was another demonstration of this fact. In 2015, many consulting firms already highlighted the importance of setting up a proper customer journey, introducing the digital technologies, and so on. And we had to get to 2020, when a pandemic outbreak came out, to think about the importance of this new approach, a new attitude, a customer-centric attitude. I don't think that fashion and luxury brands need to stress so much again about creativity. They are super creative, but they are not innovative on one side. And that really surprised me a lot. The more I get in depth about the UX, the user experience, the importance of the customer journey, the more I'm surprised how much resistant to this change, and they are resistant also to the implementation of all these. It's from the mindset to the brand strategy to the marketing plans in their own daily activities. With some exceptions, I really loved, this is the people who follow me since some time know very well that I really highlight the incredible progression made by Prada in this sense, for example, not only in terms of digital, but also in terms of global brand projects. The Renylon project is amazing. I mean, they took an icon of the 90s, what made the success of Prada, and they made it an icon of the 2020s through digital, through the product, through the sustainable nylon, and so on. But even Moncler is working in a very exciting way. But generally speaking, there is a lot of resistance to change, and that's really surprising from an industry that could really live of change, of continuous change, of continuous renovation, of innovation. It's a point that has to really be implemented today.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Susanna. Thank you for sharing that. This aspect opens a Pandora vase because, as you were saying, they're super creative, but maybe not innovative enough. I mean, everybody has statements, declarations, but now things must really happen. And as you were saying, given a perfect state of the art of the luxury designers, um, COVID-19 as a big threat and crisis can really make things happen, like speed them up, like, really find the way how to improve the customer journey, the customer experience. And so I was thinking, also metaphorically speaking, that when we speak about UX, user experience, um, we have to speak about an omni-channel user experience, not just a device, multi-devices, physical presence, with all limitations these days because of COVID-19, capacity in the store, people being 6 feet apart. There is a lot. And technology, actually, as you were mentioning, could really be the answer. How to redesign the user experience. And this is the time. Don't you think? It's not time to, wait until what? They're still hiring companies who, quote, design user experience in the store. Like they totally forget the connection with the online. So the user experience is not just how you display stuff on shelves in the store, but it's also about safety. It's also about digital, mobile experience. And so my point is, and I would like you to share your thoughts, that metaphorically speaking, but also literally speaking, data is the main element for the tailor job, how you can tailor make the new experience. If you do not start from data, which is experience, personal data, how can you design user experience? What's your point?
Totally, I totally agree with you. And on the other side, I think that fashion and luxury brands should start seriously thinking about changing their organizations. Until now, the marketing director or the chief marketing officer for fashion and luxury brands used to come from PR, very likely. So you don't have people that are truly that have a knowledge, a deep knowledge of what real marketing is, and that's why sometimes we feel very people very critical about marketing. But marketing is an extremely important leverage for a fashion and luxury brand. Marketing starts from marketing intelligence. As you have said very well, it starts from data. And it's not just something related to analyzing rough data, tons of data in a very standardized way. It's a very tailor-made way, but they need, and this is what we are going to do also in terms of education, to start setting up programs that are useful for setting up a proper digital transformation in the fashion and in the luxury brands. That's extremely important. We need marketing intelligence people. We need data gathering that are qualitative. It's not just about the quantity, it's about the quality, and it's about designing the structure for gathering data, for analyzing them to be useful for the purpose of the brand, which is not just sales, it's business growth, is brand awareness. It's much more than just sales. And when I hear people saying we are going digital, digital is everything and is nothing. We need to have clear ideas on which digital tools we need for developing business growth in fashion, brand awareness, and the brand equity. So that's extremely important. And omni-channel is a crucial way of doing business, but so far very few brands are trying hard to do this, and there is a lot of things to learn from tech companies, and that's why even in the book I stress a lot the concept of cross-pollination. So far, fashion and luxury brands have always had the ivory tower approach that comes from being super creative, and that has been very, very good at the beginning, at the foundation of these brands. Then today, in a totally different world, we need a totally different approach, different job profiles, knowledgeable of fashion, because the HR departments, failed in trying to hire from mass market digital professionals, marketing intelligence people, chief digital officers. But the mentality behind a mass market brand, it's very different from a fashion and a luxury brand. So now we need professionals that are able to understand the complexity of the digital world and the digital business, and also able to understand and to leverage all the features, specific features of the fashion and the luxury brands. That's a key challenge for the whole organization. That's why it's not enough to hire a chief digital officer. It doesn't mean anything. As we say, digital is everywhere. Every single part of a company has to be digital, but with a growth mindset, not a conservative mindset.
Thank you so much. Really, this is enlightening. You're right. It's, otherwise we keep on using buzzwords. Oh, we need a digital officer. And so many times we run into a digital officer and the guy is not really, and understanding their own vertical, because a digital officer in luxury should be and is kind of different than the one from I don't know, banking or supermarkets or public transportations and so on. You're right. Well, you actually stressed on so many little topics that would take maybe more than just a fireside chat to discuss, but maybe we can read all of these in your book, Luxury Unlocked. So let me also ask you what's behind the unlocked,
Mm.
taking for granted, but then maybe later I will ask you better what luxury means today. But what do you mean when you say unlocked?
Unlocked because we have to unlock the potential of luxury and fashion. If we compare a brand, an iconic brand like Apple, and an iconic brand, the brand number one in luxury and fashion, which is Louis Vuitton, which is really state of the art, super creative, very organized, very precise in the positioning, in the product development, and so on. There is a lot of things to do that are still unlocked, that are still locked and to be unlocked. I mean, I was looking for, during a lessons I had with a class this week, it was about the user experience, and we made a test. I said, okay, let's say there is the lockdown. I have to celebrate something that I achieved. I want to spend 1,000 US dollars, and I have to do it online because there's a lockdown. I cannot go outside, I cannot go to the shops, and so on. So I will do it online. Let me see, what can I buy? And I said, maybe I can buy an iPhone. Let me see. I went on the Apple website. There was a beautiful iPhone on the landing page. I clicked on that. They made me choose the color. They made me choose the giga. They made me choose many things. And in less than 3 minutes, I was able to buy my amazing iPhone, a luxury product at the end in its category. So easy, so flawless, so simple. The user experience and the customer journey was pleasant, was simple, and was rewarding. Then I said, what can I buy with the same, more or less, or maybe more, um, uh, on the luxury side? Let me try a luxury bag. And the students suggested Vuitton, and we went to the website of Vuitton. Very different from the UI that we saw on user interface of the apple.com. Much more complex, lots of pictures to upload. It was impossible to upload them. It took some time. I picked up a bag, and then I discovered at the very end that the bag was not available, because they put on the
Oh my,
website, on the e-commerce, a
right.
bag. It was a pre-launch only for the digital, but the bag was not available. So what generated frustration? Sometimes, yes, in the past, frustration worked very well. So luxury brands used to create frustration to nurture desire. But today, it's an instant shopping. I wanted to buy something, and it took me years to understand that the product was not available, not even in the shops, and they didn't even propose
Yeah,
an alternative.
yeah.
So,
Well,
and Louis
this is an
Vuitton,
incredible example.
yes,
Sorry.
I was surprised as well, and I was amazed to see the huge potential that Vuitton still has. Can you imagine a Louis Vuitton user experience that is similar to the
Wow,
iPhone Apple
you're
one?
right. You're right.
Amazing.
Right. You're
Louis
right.
Vuitton. turnover is still very tiny compared to Apple. And Apple sells products that are cheaper than Louis Vuitton. So can you imagine? That's why I really wanted to speak about the unlocked, how to unlock the potential. There's a
Yeah.
huge potential,
And,
but
and,
it's still under the resistance to change.
and by the way, you're mentioning, as you said, that Louis Vuitton is one of the best, is the one who is a step ahead compared to the rest of the luxury designers. So definitely, and we are not here, of course, to advertise for the good or the bad anybody, but we want to
Just an
show
example.
a reality how you know it's always been like that. And I like the way you said frustration was leveraged to create desire, but today maybe it's no more that kind of time. People, if we see something, we want to have it. We don't want to spend time because time is the main commodity today. It's not the $1,000 or the $100 or $10,000. It's more about my time, and time is the real commodity. And it's also about when you said they should unlock so much still to be unlocked. But don't you think that the very first seed to be unlocked is starting from knowing your traffic, both online and offline, bridging the two silos and knowing it granularly speaking, it means knowing that she is Susanna, this is Mauro. And then I would start from these black, let's say, cloud of I don't understand anything to start understanding something. Oh, this is something, this is different. And then I nurture the engagement for your personalization. And then it means, gathering data in the appropriate way, which let's not forget it, it starts with protection. There is no innovation without data protection and regulation. Fortunately, Europe designed the best, or at least the most complete regulatory framework, GDPR. California followed as first state in the United States with the CCPA. It's kind of so it means that the whole world is understanding the importance of data, respect of data, the ownership of data, because data is actually where companies make money. So we should maybe rethink the way data, personal data, is valued. So you understand general traffic into individuals or cohort, and then you start nurturing these visitor experience can turn into a customer experience. And then the customer, meaning between visitor and customer, is someone who is purchasing at the end of the visit. Okay, because we need to nurture the visit itself, the experience, not stressing on the idea of selling. But then if you sell, you have a customer. If the customer comes back and you work on retention, thanks to marketing intelligence, as you were calling it, you have now a loyal customer. And if you work on the loyalty program in the appropriate way, maybe you can have an ambassador. And who's better than Susanna, who is nowadays an ambassador of that brand when she speaks at a table during dinner about her bag or whatever, the phone, she's already selling, spreading the word. So, how can all these brands with long time legacy, and legacy can kill you sometimes, forgetting the new experience, how can they unlock if the potentiality, if they do not start from getting to know who your traffic, visitors, customers, ambassadors are. Do you think it's time to reverse the shot and thinking the luxury is no more an exclusive thing that exclude people, but the opposite, include? So think about, if I may mention that, I would like to hear your 2 cents on that. Think about Gucci today with Alessandro Michele. Uh, what they did during the fashion show, everything was like films. What they're doing these days, basically, they're doing a partnership with North Face from San Francisco, by the way. So I couldn't think the two worlds on the same table, a luxury good and an outfit for running, hiking, sportive, comfort. Don't you think? Now, look, this is beautiful, but this is also so comfortable. So, comfort and luxury are probably meddling together. So, what do you think about this exclusivity, inclusivity? It's time to know who your traffic is. If you do not start with location based customer insights that can happen seamlessly, frictionlessly on a phone, you just get on board on a Wi-Fi and you have the digital experience of entering the store. Parallel, you have another planet, the digital planet, and you do not end, as you were saying, after 5 minutes to understand that your bag is not available anymore. So I would like you to discuss these things, inclusivity, exclusivity, but starting from customer centricity, which is today data at scale, marketing intelligence. What do you think? And if you can tell me something about how you see these new moves from Gucci.
I like what Peter Drucker was used to say. It's quite a famous quote from him: "Get out of the building." And this is what fashion and luxury brands need to do: get out of the ivory tower, get into the society, get to know the society, and not just through trends book and things that are pre-cooked, let's say, but also getting in into the getting in the streets, getting to know better every single person that could become their customer. And what you said before, I think everything starts from the organization. It's not that fashion and luxury brands are not aware of these strategic technologies that can help them in developing the omni-channel. They know it very well. The problem is the organization. The organization in these brands is developed through silos, and the silos are in competition each other to reach some objectives, and they do not work in a transversal way, in a synergic way. So we know very well by heart, fashion and luxury insiders, that e-commerce people are not integrated with the retail people. The retail people are not integrated with the wholesale people. The buyers are another department, and then you have the merchandisers, and so on and so on, and then you have the salespeople on the floors, and then you have many different departments that do not work in a synergic way. Everything starts from the mindset. They need to change the mindset. They need to change the culture with this kind of inclusivity. And the inclusivity cannot start from outside the company. The inclusivity projects must start from inside the companies through a different mindset, a different approach, through the integration of the departments. I saw so many times one department fighting with the other one for
Oh yeah.
objectives, for goals, for targets. That's really too much. And it doesn't work like that anymore. This is a very 80s approach of the business, to do business with no limits, I mean. And internal competition doesn't help inclusivity. And when brands will be able to create this sort of inclusive approach inside the company, they will also realize how much it is important to spread inclusivity all over the world, and also to spread what I called in the book a different approach, which is also compassion. It's also empathy. It's understanding the diversity, truly understanding the diversity, integrating the rebel professionals, which are very useful, the thought provokers. That's extremely important. Coming back to Gucci, I think that they are doing a lot of projects. The risk, as I wrote recently, is a sort of a Pierre Cardinization of Gucci. I mean, doing many things, you risk to dilute too much the strength of the brand. Gucci is a brand which has a long story. Great successes. The last one is the 2015 arrival of Alessandro Michele and Marco Bizzarri, and the relaunch of the brand, and so on. Too many things risk to dilute the success and the strength of the brand. When you launch Doraemon and the movies and things and North Face in a very few months, the risk is not
Yeah.
is dilute too much. I mean, they can further develop the brand. They for sure will benefit from collaborations, but in a very synergic way.
Yeah.
Too many collaborations risk to weaken the brand. That's the only concern I have, because Gucci is an amazing brand, and it's a brand that has a strong presence in terms of headquarters, also in Florence. Lots of workers, laboratories there. The workforce is huge, and they need to focus the strategy on nurturing the brand. That's, I think, important. Maybe less collaborations and super focused ones. But of course, it's a point
Well,
of view. I'm sharing
yeah,
just my
sure.
point of
No,
view.
thank you for sharing it. It's very important and relevant to me and everybody who's listening. At least, if I may have an exchange on the topic, at least they try, at least they experiment, and maybe they can fail, but they're experimenting while the rest is not doing anything. It's so stuck into this legacy of the brand that maybe reality is that people don't even know what that is. And instead, on the other side, it's a question. I'm not asserting this. Maybe, of course, after the shock, for people like you or me who knew how it was in the past, uh, seeing today Gucci, it sounds like, what is this? But maybe they are fine tuning better with the new audience, because numbers are numbers, figures are figures. They're doing better than anyone else. So, yeah, it's true. The risk, as you said, is maybe they are like diluting the the brand essence, but maybe this is their idea, pushing so hard, even starting from the models. their models are not the models we were used to in the 80s and the 90s with top models, you know, those golden age. Today, there are people like from the street. Their weirdness isn't the icon because everybody is weirdo. Everybody's strange, kind of. So maybe this is the way to include. I know, as you're saying, maybe it's too much. Who knows? But also, it's powerful the statement from Alessandro Michele when he says, "Why should we have just beautiful things separated from comfortable ones?" So we want to be in an outfit which is very comfortable, but it's not cool or stylish. They're trying. We don't know. I mean, I'm not speaking personally, but I'm saying at the end of the day, I think that this is empowered, this marketing, which has been rewarded by figures and numbers and awards that they just received, starts around getting to know better who your visitors, your traffic, your customers, your ambassadors are. And they mix celebs with everybody. So we have people like Billie Eilish, which is the goddess of music, playing like any other kid. And, but they mix them in a very strategic way. We don't know, as you're saying, maybe it's too much, but they're still experimenting. While most of the others, don't you think they are like zombies? Like still being around their legacy, but where is the branding? Where is the get to know? Where is the technology in place? You said it very well with your experiment. You want to buy $1,500,000 or euro an iPhone, which is luxury, totally luxury, $1,500 euros, and you could do that in 3 minutes. And on the other side, you're not able to do the same thing with a luxury bag, whatever. And at the end, you realize it's not even available. So, how can we reshape fashion with technology? And you said the internal competition between departments. This is really powerful. What you said is the main issue. We too, as a provider of data collection, personalization, a MarTech solution. Cloud for White is a MarTech solution. We see every time, most of the times, the IT departments and the marketing, they are two parallels, which by definition in geometry, they never touch each other. And that could be complicated. And then they bring a digital officer, but maybe they miss the vertical. So we should start from skills, from education. Marangoni is one of those institutions working on new education. But how can we reshape luxury, leveraging technology and data? How can we rethink, design the new UX, the new user experience? Don't you think that even though the caravan of how you do défilé, everything is going to change? We cannot look backward. Don't you think so?
I think so, absolutely. I totally agree with you. I think it's a matter of setting up a long-term strategy. A long-term strategy means taking time inside the organization to redesign things, to redesign the internal processes, to redesign completely the organization, and to set up the omni-channel department, because before the pandemic, retail was the king. Now e-commerce is the king. Now they are killing the wholesalers. Maybe the wholesalers will come back. And all the three are not integrated. So it's not possible to work in this way. They need to create one omni-channel department and setting up synergies between retail, wholesale, and e-commerce and social commerce. It's not just the e-commerce on the website, it's the social commerce. China is totally different. There's a social commerce phenomenon and so on. It's a long-term strategy. It's not quick fixes. What worries me the most, generally speaking, when I see brands that grow so much in such a short time, what I ask to myself is always, how long will it last? And in the experiment I did, at the end, there are luxury brands that are performing very well. And I'm talking about luxury, not even fashion brands. And for example, it was Hermes. I wanted to buy an Hermes watch, and the website is pretty easy, simple, the experience is nice, it's rewarding, and it's not so bad. And it's Hermes. It's the most conservative luxury brand in the world. Creating desire, but they are not frustrating people, and that's a different approach. So and they are growing long term, 9%, 10%, but they are growing little by little. It's like building a house or building a skyscraper in 1 month, or you build it in 1 year.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course, if you build it in 1 year, it will take more time, but maybe it will have a stronger foundations, it will have better finishing, it will have quality materials because it takes time to have them, and so on. So I think with the digital approach, with a long-term strategy, with lots of curiosity, I had the chance to talk to many entrepreneurs. Here in Florence, we also have the phenomenon of Luisa Via Roma. Luisa Via Roma was the first e-commerce set up in fashion by Andrea Panconesi. He was the owner of a shop, of a fashion concept store, the first concept store in Florence, and he set up an e-commerce. And he told me, when I asked him, how could you do it? It was 1999. He told me, because I was curious. And that's amazing. He told me, I was curious to understand e-commerce. And no software was existing for fashion e-commerce. And he went to the University of Pisa, where there's the IT faculty, and he asked some engineers to set up a software for the Luisa Via Roma e-commerce. That's amazing.
Wow.
I
It is
mean,
indeed. Yeah. And by the
because
way, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, just it amazed me because it's a matter, it's a mix of curiosity, entrepreneurial spirit, having no limit in the vision, and being really forward looking, and
Well,
having a long-term vision. That's extremely important.
I mean, if the guy from Luisa Via Roma was able to think the current e-commerce 22 years ago, it's huge. It's like 200 years, of
Yes.
advancement. And also, I was thinking maybe this could be one of the last topic we can discuss. We could go for hours with you. It's such a
Mhm.
pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was thinking same stuff, probably Ukes. What do you think about that? And beyond
Absolutely.
Ukes, beyond Ukes, what is your takeaway and vision on Amazon's role or Walmart? I know they start from the mass products, but who knows if they will be faster in moving towards that direction, leveraging a powerful technology. So Ukes, Amazon, um, I'm mentioning Ukes because he's another Italian guy. And now luxury designers are going on Ukes to sell. But 10 years ago, you know better than me, they were betting like we won't do this kind of things. Now they're there. The top luxury ones are on Ukes too. So what can you share a last thing around Ukes, Amazon, and also if I may, the social media selling, considering recently a famous brand made a declaration like, we're not going to use a social media anymore, and they shut down their accounts. Tell me something about that. Provoking.
They
Thank you.
shut down their European and Western accounts. They didn't shut down the Chinese ones. So that's my answer. It's easy to create buzz around the brand for that. I mean, with that, they would be, I think, authentic. It would be an authentic move, and authenticity is extremely important. You cannot joke around these statements. If they shut down all the social media all over the world,
Yeah, why not China?
why? Because
Okay, so
China
so
is business, and most of the brands do business in China. So that was a provocation. I mean, I believe in that move. If they shut down WeChat and Weibo and
yeah,
the little red book and so on.
yeah, because
Otherwise, I have some doubt. I still keep some doubts. Of course, every brand can do whatever they want, but I think that even the most luxurious brand can sell online with their own tone of voice and with their own style with no trouble. Yux is a phenomenon again, and Federico Marchetti is another great visionary and looking forward entrepreneur. It's not by chance that he went into the family of Richemont, and I had also the chance to work at Richemont and to know personally Johan Rupert, the founder of the group. And despite the fact that the group is very traditional, very linked to the heritage with all these hard luxury brands, he is a great, great technology enhancer. Mr. Rupert is the greatest technology digital enhancer, I think, globally speaking. He believed in all the apps, tools for luxury brands, and it was 2007, 2009, 2010. I was in the group at that time, and he was amazing, a great visionary. And Federico Marchetti did very well in creating this synergy inside the Richmond group. Amazon has a big challenge because they are huge. They are the king of customer experience, a flawless experience. What they maybe still lack is the understanding of fashion and luxury. So it's a big challenge for them because they are really looking at the mass of products, on the quantities of
hear you.
volumes, and fashion and luxury are not at that level yet. So the integration maybe it will take time. I don't see it as immediate. Of course, they are a big benchmark and a big case his study for all the fashion and luxury brands, but they opened more for with Alibaba in China and so on because they of course need the
Yeah.
business there.
Thank you so much, Susanna. A very last question just to end with the boom. Don't you think that um, after all of that we said, um, the password to redesign everything is community? I mean, yeah, you have big technology, then you have big brand, then you have your world here, but it looks like kind of still silos. While at the same time, those ones who have community are those ones who have power in terms of not just growing like this, but they grow consistently. To give you an idea, Apple, when being that company coming always from the future, this is the kind of vision they give us. Apple actually um, counted before COVID-19 amongst all their stores in the world. You know how many people in 1 year? Just to have an idea. Retail, physical retail, they counted something around 500,000,000. So when people think everything is online, 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 Apple was nurturing the ground, the earth, always shooting for the moon, but bridging the two worlds because they have a community. So the moment they had to shut down the stores because of COVID or whatever will happen, they still have community. And community means data. And if they comply with data regulation, giving data back to the people, getting them to know the importance of their own data, they can keep on working. And in fact, they didn't deflect at all during COVID-19. They're doing even better. While on the other side, so many other brands, tech companies and not tech companies, when their stores were closed, their online world appeared as it really is, the kind of mess, confusion, frustration, and they're going down in selling. They're losing the connection with Mauro and Susanna. They don't know what to communicate, how. So there is a third level because there is not just Apple and the rest of the planet. There are so many little brands who instead were gathering data. Why? Not to spy on people, but to listen to them, to hear from them, their feedback. That's why we enable, as Cloudflare Y, enable brands and companies with technology to seamlessly and frictionlessly get to know and not to spy, but to hear, to listen to them in order to personalize the customer journey, how it changes. So you can go dark, closing your stores, but you still have your light on because you can keep the conversation going on. So don't you think that maybe community is the real password? Because if you have a sense of belonging, today they're selling to you computers, tomorrow they came and sold you phones. In 2007, nobody in the world could even think that Apple Computer was going to sell you phones or now smartphones. So we don't know what they're going to sell to us. But brands should understand their audience, create their community, nurture it, to better perform. Don't you think so?
Absolutely. Sense of belonging, community, and creating and nurturing your tribe is key for every single brand in fashion and luxury.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Susanna. Of course, I think we can buy your book online. Can we?
Yes, on Amazon. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank
Big
you.
love
Thank
from
you.
San Francisco to all Italy and Firenze, especially Firenze.
Take
Ciao.
care. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Mauro. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Bye. Bye
Bye bye.
bye.